Since Netflix has produced plenty of iconic thriller shows over the years, some classics like Ripley and Behind Her Eyes have inevitably, unfairly been forgotten after their arrival on the streaming service. Netflix's most watched shows ever prove that the streaming service is doing something right. Compared to its biggest competitors like Hulu and Apple TV, Netflix seemingly has a knack for finding shows that will resonate with a major audience. Countless shows have imitated the Stranger Things formula in the years since the mega hit began, hoping to find as much success with audiences as the original show. However, Netflix's success could be attributed to one obvious, but oft-forgotten part of the streaming service's approach. Netflix releases an extraordinary amount of content every year, meaning the service will inevitably have a few big hits amid its many releases. 7. Maniac. Clearly, this approach works, judging by the popularity of the service's offerings. However, the sheer amount of movies and shows on the platform means that even many critically acclaimed shows are soon forgotten, despite their well-earned acclaim. This is exactly the fate that befell 2018's Maniac, a show notable for reuniting Superbad stars Emma Stone and Jonah Hill. Maniac follows a pair of strangers who take part in a pharmaceutical trial that challenges their very understanding of reality in a blackly comic psychological thriller where nothing is as it seems. Both Hill and Stone earned acclaim for their roles in the show, which featured a starry supporting cast including Justin Theroux and Gabriel Byrne. Beloved by critics, Maniac used a complex structure to play about with the boundaries of reality itself, and the ambitious, trippy show won over reviewers as a result. However, despite all its acclaim, the series was swiftly forgotten upon its release. 6. Ripley. Released in 2024, Ripley is an adaptation of Patricia Highsmith's infamously tense psychological thriller novel The Talented Mr. Ripley. The story follows a con man who becomes involved with a wealthy couple in Italy, only to become embroiled in a twisted web of murder and lies the longer he remains in the sunny paradise. The Talented Mr. Ripley was already turned into an acclaimed movie in 1998, making Ripley's job even harder. However, by the time Ripley's ending rolled around, the show had everyone convinced. Critics raved about its fresh, original retelling, praising star Andrew Scott's central performance as an astounding turn. Ripley was nominated for 14 Emmy Awards and won 4, and its superb reviews were bolstered by strong ratings on Netflix. However, the series somehow never had the impact that it should have, and many viewers never even saw what is considered by some reviewers to be the definitive portrayal of Ripley. 5. Fool Me Once. While all the titles listed here were critically acclaimed, Fool Me Once also has the notable honor of being one of Netflix's most watched titles ever. Despite this, the Harlan Coben adaptation was forgotten by viewers almost as soon as Fool Me Once was released in early 2024. Starring Michelle Keegan, this mystery follows a soldier who is stunned to see footage of her dead husband on her nanny cam. Realizing that he obviously isn't as dead as she thought, the heroine is plunged into a world of conspiracy and danger as she unravels this mysterious thread. Although Fool Me Once changes a lot of source novel story, the adaptation was still acclaimed by critics upon its original release. Despite this success, Fool Me Once failed to have a lasting impact on audiences and has since largely been forgotten. For A Good Girl's Guide to Murder. Adapted from author Holly Jackson's novel of the same name, A Good Girl's Guide to Murder was a British murder mystery series released in 2024. The show follows Pip Fitz-Amerby, a schoolgirl who realizes that the police mishandled a young girl's killing and decides to take the investigation into her own hands. A Good Girl's Guide to Murder had a secret weapon in its leading lady, Wednesday star Emma Myers, and the show was both acclaimed by critics and renewed for a second season shortly after its release on the streaming service. However, A Good Girl's Guide to Murder still never made the sort of mainstream impact that Wednesday managed, despite the show's broad appeal. Fortunately, unlike many of the shows listed here, the series will have another chance to win the attention of viewers with its second outing. Unlike a self-contained miniseries, A Good Girl's Guide to Murder has plenty more follow-up novels to adapt in future seasons. 3. Behind Her Eyes. The ending of Behind Her Eyes remains one of the wildest twists in any Netflix thriller ever, but even this could not win the attention of the public for long after the show was released. A campy classic, Behind Her Eyes is based on the novel of the same name by Sarah Pinborough. The show follows a single mother who begins an affair with her boss, only to end up becoming friends with his wife. From there, things get stranger until an absurd finale adds a supernatural twist to proceedings. As this synopsis implies, Behind Her Eyes is an enjoyably wild ride, and critics generally agreed the show was a fun, if silly, good time. Despite this, the series seems to have had no staying power in the public imagination. Behind Her Eyes might be a lot of fun, but viewers would be hard-pressed to find much mention of the series online in the years since its initial release in 2021. 2. The Watcher. Like Fool Me Once, Ryan Murphy's The Watcher is notable for once landing on the streaming service's top 10 most watched list of all time. However, also like that Harlan Coben adaptation, the series was also swiftly forgotten not long after its release. Released in 2022, The Watcher was loosely based on a 2018 article from The Cut. The show followed a couple played by Naomi Watts and Bobby Cannavale who, after moving into a seemingly perfect home, are harangued by creepy, stalkerish letters from someone calling themselves The Watcher. While The Watcher's reviews weren't as bad as those that Ryan Murphy's later series All's Fair earned, the reception of the miniseries wasn't entirely glowing either. However, The Watcher was incredibly popular with audiences, which makes its lack of cultural impact all the more surprising. One Brand New Cherry Flavor. Created by Teen Wolf writer Nick Antosca, Brand New Cherry Flavor is a Netflix miniseries based on the novel of the same name by author Todd Grimson. The show follows Lisa, a young director who arrives in Hollywood in the hopes of working with a famous producer. When she rejects his romantic advances, Lisa is left with no career prospects. The director blackballs her, making it impossible for Lisa to gain any work in the industry. Desperate and disheartened, Lisa decides to team up with a witch to exact revenge on her tormentor. By Brand New Cherry Flavor's ending, this twisted thriller has gone to some seriously dark places.